When this family built a contemporary home, they wanted to match its resourceful design with equally resourceful plants. Working with landscape architect Curt Arnette, they achieved multi-level gardens on this hilly site.
Plants, I think, are something that draw people out, and they create an emotional response, and it makes them feel good.
Since the property backs up to a private greenbelt, they also wanted to extend the habitat's wildlife invitation to the garden. Their starting point was defining destinations and navigation.
Well, we tried to create some usable terrace areas and use some lawn areas in small pieces that were usable spaces. We did that by using large stone blocks to create terraces. And we also adjusted the grade in the front yard to kind of accentuate the house, but also to give a little bit of privacy when you're down in the house from the street.
Along the front curb, Curt selected plants that withstand deflected heat, buffer the house from various vantage points, and attract wildlife. He varied the view with height, structure, texture, and color, foliar and flower.
I think when you combine all those elements, you really add a little bit of drama to the landscape.
To suit the streamlined architecture and generate visual movement to the front door, he stylized the walkway with cut limestone. The driveway is formed with concrete pads grouted with gravel to allow water and air down to the live oak roots. His plant design closer in reinforces a progressive journey to the house. Even though Curt diversifies the presentation, he unites it with repetitive forms and groupings.
I think that's just an important design element, that repetition is one of the design elements that we try to use.
He mulched with Texas black gravel.
It's used to give a little more of a contemporary look, which this house has.
A reflecting pool starts the journey to the backyard. Designed by Miro Rivera Architects, its long stride against a stone wall, punctuated with a stone sculpture, extends the architecture into the landscape. Its rhythmic water flow carries to the adjacent lawn, often set with tables for outdoor parties. In this area beyond the pool, Curt included lush plants with teases of color.
We wanted to create a level lawn right up outside the pool area to use for entertainment and just as a visual place to be.
Along one side overlooking the native ravine, he combined structural southwestern plants and ground cover silver ponyfoot. One charm of the property is the overlook, but its harsh grading needed architectural retention to reduce erosion. The family also wanted to navigate and discover its many levels, from playground to garden. Mulched areas pocket young sweeps of understory texture and color.
And we wanted to extend some of the architecture out into the landscape. So we used stone blocks, the same stone that was used on the house, but in different sizes. We used bigger blocks, and we would stack the blocks and pull them apart in order to create some planting areas. And then when you have the blocks combined with these planting areas, you get a nice combination. It serves as a retaining wall, but it looks almost like a vertical garden.
With stone, gravel, and metal, Curt stair-stepped the journey to its final revelation, formerly just a steeply sloped lawn. The stone terracing demands attention with vivid trailers and upright companions that define this new destination.
I felt like if we had a strong hardscape design, that we could kind kind of go crazy in some of the beds and use a lot of different varieties, but still use masses of things with some punctuation in there, with some bold type plant textures. But I think it gives them a changing of the seasons. You get different things blooming at different times. You have things that are evergreen, they're always going to be there, but other things coming up at different times, and just giving them something of interest to enjoy throughout the whole year.
He designed a drip irrigation system that provides each new plant just the amount of water it needs. That way, the same bed can host both extremely xeric plants and ones that need a little more water in drought.
On some plants, we're actually going to probably take the emitters off of them this year.
At the back fence, Curt wanted to blend the native habitat with the garden.
Well, this site already had a lot of natural beauty, native plants, and we wanted to use some of those and then add to that. So we used plants that were kind of striking, dramatic in their shape and form, and used some color. And that was part of the design, and we're going to continue to get that, because we have plants that are planted along that fence that will eventually hide it, and you won't see a boundary between the neighbor's kind of greenbelt area and the end of this property. So it really goes from a more man-made planted area to a more natural area, which we're trying to do on the property itself too. And so it's just a great mix of variety that was already here that we tried to borrow from and then enhance a little bit.
The garden's also a mix for everyone in the family, from gardening and watching wildlife to playtime and entertainment.
I just really enjoy hearing from them that they've spent the day out in the yard or the evening out in the yard and have really enjoyed being out and what we created together.